November 22, 1963. Dallas, Texas. 3 shots rang out, echoing through history, forever altering the course of a nation. President John F. Kennedy, charismatic and visionary, fell victim to an assassin's bullet. The world watched in horror. But what unfolded in the days, weeks, and decades that followed wasn't just a search for justice. It was a descent into a labyrinth of conflicting evidence, official narratives, and persistent, gnawing doubts. This isn't a history lesson. This is an investigation into the possibility of a betrayal so profound, it still reverberates today. Central to the official story, the Warren Commission's conclusion that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone, is the infamous single bullet theory. Imagine this: one bullet, traveling at incredible speed, allegedly caused all 7 non-fatal wounds to both President Kennedy and Governor John Connally. It entered JFK's neck, exited, struck Connally in the back, exited his chest, shattered his wrist, and finally embedded itself in his thigh. A truly remarkable trajectory for a single projectile. Yet, the physics of it, the sheer improbability, screams a different truth. Governor John Connally, a former Marine, was clear and unwavering in his testimony. He stated emphatically that he was hit by a separate bullet, after President Kennedy had already been struck. His account directly contradicts the Warren Commission's theory. If Connally was hit by a distinct second bullet, then Oswald, firing from a single rifle, could not have been the sole shooter. This alone unravels the core of the official narrative, forcing us to question everything that followed. Was his testimony ignored? Or was it simply inconvenient? Further straining credibility is Warren Commission Exhibit 399, or CE 399, the so-called magic bullet. Recovered from Connally's stretcher, this bullet was found to be in an almost pristine condition. How could a single projectile pass through 2 men, shattering bone, creating 7 wounds, yet emerge virtually undamaged? The idea defies logic, physics, and common sense. A bullet designed to inflict such widespread damage should have been deformed, mangled. Instead, it offered suspiciously little evidence of its alleged journey. Lee Harvey Oswald. His name became synonymous with the assassination. An ex-Marine, self-proclaimed Marxist, who had lived in the Soviet Union before returning to the U.S., then found work at the Texas School Book Depository. A seemingly lone, troubled figure, he was arrested swiftly. But from the moment of his capture, Oswald vehemently denied his guilt. His most haunting words, echoing through history, were, "I'm just a patsy." Was he a calculating killer, or a convenient fall guy, perfectly fitting a predetermined narrative? Just 2 days after the assassination, before Oswald could ever stand trial, before his claims of being a patsy could be fully investigated in court, he was silenced. On November 24, 1963, as he was being transferred through the basement of the Dallas Police Headquarters, a man named Jack Ruby stepped forward and shot Lee Harvey Oswald point-blank. The entire, shocking event unfolded live on national television, leaving an indelible mark on the American psyche. It was an act that solidified suspicions of a conspiracy, denying the world any chance of Oswald's full testimony. Who was Jack Ruby? A Dallas nightclub owner with alleged ties to organized crime, a shadowy figure suddenly thrust into the national spotlight. His initial claim was that he acted out of grief for the president and to spare Jackie Kennedy the ordeal of a trial. A noble, if unbelievable, motive. Yet, Ruby later recanted this story, hinting at darker forces, claiming he had been used. Was Ruby simply an emotional citizen, or was he a pawn, eliminating the most crucial witness in a much larger, more sinister game? His connections raised immediate red flags. Despite the Warren Commission's official conclusion of a lone gunman, doubts persisted for decades. Multiple government investigations followed, each chipping away at the certainty of the initial findings. Crucially, the House Select Committee on Assassinations, or HSCA, in the late 1970s, delivered a stunning verdict. They concluded that President Kennedy was probably assassinated as a result of a conspiracy. This was a seismic shift. The HSCA agreed Oswald fired the shots, but stressed he was part of a larger conspiracy. This meant powerful forces were at play. The HSCA went further. Based on acoustic evidence, they concluded that it was probable that two gunmen were involved in the assassination. If this finding holds, it dismantles the very foundation of the lone gunman theory and transforms the entire event from a random act of violence into a meticulously planned operation. Two gunmen imply coordination, planning, and a network of individuals. Suddenly, the questions multiply. Who was the second shooter? And more importantly, who orchestrated their actions? One of the most persistent and unsettling theories points to the Central Intelligence Agency. Why? Because JFK had a contentious relationship with the agency. After the Bay of Pigs fiasco, a failed invasion of Cuba orchestrated by the CIA, Kennedy was furious. He threatened to splinter the CIA into 1,000 pieces and scatter it to the winds. Furthermore, Kennedy was reportedly planning to withdraw from Vietnam, a move that would have deeply frustrated elements within the intelligence community and the military-industrial complex. Did the agency see him as a liability? Another powerful entity with a motive was organized crime. It's widely alleged that the mob, particularly figures like Sam Giancana, helped JFK win the 1960 election, leveraging their influence in key states. However, once in office, Kennedy's brother, Attorney General Robert Kennedy, launched an aggressive, relentless crackdown on the mafia. This was seen as a profound betrayal. Did the mob, feeling scorned and targeted, decide to eliminate the president as a ruthless act of revenge and a chilling warning to others who might cross them? Anti-Castro Cuban exiles, fiercely dedicated to overthrowing Fidel Castro, also harbored deep resentment towards JFK. They felt betrayed by Kennedy after the disastrous Bay of Pigs invasion, where American air support was withdrawn, leaving them to their fate. Many were highly trained, battle-hardened individuals, capable of executing a complex plot. Did they see Kennedy as an obstacle to their ultimate goal of retaking Cuba, and therefore, an enemy worthy of elimination? Their anger was palpable, and their network extensive. Beyond intelligence and organized crime, other powerful factions had motives. The military-industrial complex, a term coined by President Eisenhower himself, represented a powerful alliance between the military and defense contractors. They thrived on conflict. JFK's reported desire to withdraw from Vietnam was an existential threat to their power and profits. Would these entrenched interests tolerate a president who sought to dismantle their influence and end a war they saw as vital? Their resistance could have escalated to unimaginable lengths. Then there were the hardline anti-communists, both within and outside the government. In the fever pitch of the Cold War, many believed Kennedy was too soft on communism, too willing to negotiate with the Soviet Union, too cautious in confronting Cuba. For those who saw the world in stark black and white, who believed in absolute victory over communism, JFK's nuanced approach was a dangerous weakness. Could a segment of these ideologues, driven by extreme conviction, have believed that Kennedy's removal was necessary to safeguard America's future? Finally, the shadowy world of disgruntled political insiders. Power is a potent motivator. Any president inevitably makes enemies, both overt and covert, among those whose influence, positions, or agendas are threatened. JFK's push for change, his youthful ambition, and his challenging of the status quo could have alienated powerful figures within his own administration or establishment circles. These individuals, operating from within, could have provided critical access, intelligence, or even direct involvement in a conspiracy to eliminate a president they deemed a threat to their own continued power. 50 years have passed, yet the shadow of doubt persists. The official story is riddled with holes, contradictions, and physical impossibilities. The single bullet theory strains belief. Lee Harvey Oswald, the supposed lone assassin, was silenced before he could speak his truth. His killer, Jack Ruby, with his mob ties and shifting stories, added another layer of mystery. The HSCA's conclusion of a probable conspiracy involving two gunmen fundamentally challenges the official narrative. We are left with unanswered questions, with the chilling possibility of a meticulously executed cover-up. The sheer weight of evidence pointing away from a lone gunman is overwhelming. The motives of powerful entities, the CIA, the mob, disgruntled political insiders, anti-Castro groups, the military-industrial complex, paint a picture of an America rife with tension and conflicting agendas. The assassination of JFK was not just the death of a president, it was the birth of a profound national cynicism, a permanent scar on the nation's trust in its institutions. The cover-up, if it exists, is perhaps the greatest conspiracy in modern American history, its secrets buried deep within the corridors of power. The official record asks us to believe in an improbable bullet, a lone assassin, and a convenient murder that silenced him. But the facts, the contradictions, and the motives of powerful players suggest a far more complex and terrifying truth. We may never know the full story, the ultimate perpetrators. But the questions remain. Was Lee Harvey Oswald truly just a lone disgruntled ex-Marine? Or was he, as he claimed, simply a patsy in a grander, darker scheme? The evidence has been laid before you. Now, you must decide. What truly happened on November 22, 1963?